Your therapist is the one who recommended that you speak to me.
I get really stressed out when unknown financial burdens come up. I start freaking out.
I felt like I was living with a stranger. It was such a huge impact on your psyche that we couldn't live life as normal.
All I spend my mental energy thinking about is how I'm going to fix the problem, and that gets me spiraling. What if one of the kids takes a big fall and has to go to the hospital, or I have to go to the...
Tell me what was going on in therapy where my name came up.
I get really stressed out when unknown future financial burdens come up. So if a car breaks down and I don't know how much it's going to cost to fix it, I start freaking out. And it affects me not just when I find out, but for a long while after. And that definitely impacts my mood around everyone in the family. So we were talking about how it's detrimental and that maybe it's not even particularly rational.
This is a cyclical thing that happens in our relationship 3 or 4 times a year. Mm-hmm. And previously, we've always tried to treat the symptoms, so to speak, instead of the cause. So
when you say this, you're talking about Chris, as he describes it, quote, freaking out about an unexpected cost?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned, Natalie, that when one of these expenses comes up, Chris shuts everyone out. Do you have any examples of that?
My vehicle, the air conditioning went out. And one thing I admire so much about Chris is his not only willingness, but ability to fix things himself to save money. So he attempted to fix the issue, and because of circumstances that weren't entirely his fault, it didn't get fixed and actually made things worse with the vehicle. And there was a period of, Chris, 2 or 3 days that I felt like I was living with a stranger, like alone. It was such a huge impact on your psyche that we couldn't live life as normal.
Tell me what happened.
I just kind of become really blank, kind of zombie-like. All I can really spend my mental energy thinking about is how I'm going to fix the problem. And when it's a problem that I can't fix with my hands and my tools, then it's just a money issue, and that gets me, just kind of spiraling.
So when the kids ask for something, he can't respond effectively or can't provide that for them. Or when I ask about a completely unrelated issue, he's unable to think about that or address it. All he can do is go to work and come home, very zombie-like and no emotion, and shutting us out.
How long does it last for?
It depends on when he can get an answer as to how much the fix will be.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did your therapist suggest would be a great outcome for our conversation today?
I brought up the question of how much money in our savings is an okay amount so that Chris does not react this way to an unforeseen expense. And that's when she suggested that we listen to your podcast and start to think about financial fixes and being on the same page and getting a game plan together so that this doesn't happen in the future.
Okay. You mentioned kids. How many kids and how old?
We have 2. We have a 6-year-old boy and a 3-year-old girl.
Okay, great. How long has this dynamic around money existed?
I've always kind of had that feeling around money. I think it's exacerbated by the fact that now that we do have 2 kids and there's a lot of expenses associated with it. And so I would say that around the time that kid expenses really started piling up, like daycare, is when it got to the point it is now.
Okay, got it. And when these feelings come up for you, like when a large expense comes up that with an uncertain amount, what's going on for you? Do you have a voice that's saying something? Do you have a feeling in your chest?
It's a feeling of being, really concerned, and it's always the what if. It's generally not that issue that I'm concerned with. It's, okay, this issue has come up and I know it's going to cost a few $1,000s at least. I don't know exactly how much, but
Chris and I have not yet established money flows to put money automatically in savings. Filling out the spreadsheet that you sent us was a real eye-opener to the amount that we have in investments, which is factually better than most people our age, right? But having that cash on hand seems to be the issue with us. I don't know. There's just some kind of discrepancy between how you view things, Chris, and how I view things on how much money cash on hand is a good amount for us to feel okay.
I don't particularly see it as the amount of money on hand in like the checking and savings account that we can pull from. That's the issue. It's what's the trend line look like? Is it generally going up or generally going down? Because when it's going down, I just see it as like a burn rate, and there's a set deadline where we got to fix something. If it's going up, I feel a whole lot better about a large expense coming, because I know that within a certain amount of time, we'll be able to get back to square one.
It's not guilt-free because you are feeling guilty about it.
Correct.
So you are spending more than you make every single month.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I knew that.
I've had trouble believing it because in my occasional check-ins once or twice a month in our accounts, they seem steady to me.
And when you say accounts, do you mean checking account?
Checking and savings. Mm-hmm.
Wait, savings?
We have a checking account and a savings account.
I get it, but why are you looking at your savings account?
Because I'm secretly hoping and trying to build up enough to have a comfortable cushion for Chris, and or in the next several months, get a different vehicle for myself.
But how would your savings account change? There's $0 a month going towards your savings.
Occasionally I'll put $100, $200 in there, like once a quarter.
Sloppy.
It is sloppy.
Does the financial system feel sloppy?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, like throwing a little bit here and a little bit there, and like on a quarterly basis.
Oh, I hate that. It should be an automatic withdrawal from the checkings to the savings.
Okay, I agree. Why have you not automated money into your savings account?
We had done that a while back when we were trying to save up for a large purchase, and then it got to the point where the checking account was getting down to like $5,000, and we could potentially not clear checks for daycare and mortgage, and said, whoa, we need to pull back on the rate. And I think we just ended up not putting any more in savings on a regular basis.
Okay. So let me give you some kind of like systems building. Checking, 10,000 sounds fine. That's your number. That's in your checking. Keep it there. So that means right now in your savings account, you have $23,000. All right. Which is 1, 2, 3 months of savings. Okay. Savings should not be getting dipped into regularly. If it's getting dipped into regularly, you have like a larger problem. But I'm speaking just in a general average month, you should not be dipping into your savings. You need to actually be putting money one direction in, not pulling out. Okay? Where's the money coming from to put into savings? Because right now, 3 months is not enough.
Over the past couple of years, the only source for the savings has been my occasional transfer.
Which was like $100 a quarter.
Yeah,
it's
something
no
like that.
surprise. It's no surprise that you're in the situation you're in, feeling scarce. There's very, very little money going in and money coming out because of housing and car and this and that. All the clues are here.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
Why are you investing $1,800 a month?
Don't ask me.
Well, so
hold
part
on.
of that.
Whoa, wow, whoa. Who just saw that dynamic happen? Chris, what just happened right there?
That's an on me thing.
It's an on you thing. And actually the dynamic that you have created, that you have allowed to permeate your family is your wife is literally jumping back with her hands up saying, that's not me.
I wish it were me.
Yeah,
I
she
wish
wants
I
to be
could
involved.
talk about it.
But she's saying that's not me. So we need to fix that because that's a culture problem. But for now, I'm going to come to you, Chris. Why are you investing $1,800 a month?
Part of that is the ESOP, right? And that's not something that I can reduce for a current financial benefit, right? It's just baked in. Mm-hmm. The other part is that the way my company does the 401k matching now is it used to be straight match up to 3%. Now it's half match up to their contribution of 3%. So I feel like I've got to put that 6% in to get the full match, or else I'm leaving money on the table, and that doesn't make sense.
And when do you get that money?
that would be a long time from now. And if, the things work out with the investment account, then, when is that money going to help me more, now or later?
Can you answer the question?
It would be now.
Yes. You two are in a position you have never realized before because you are operating on the valuable lessons that your parents taught you that happen to not match your current financial reality.
Huh.
The fact of the matter is, you are already on track to have millions and millions of dollars. What is the difference between the two of you having 6.3 or 5.8 or 6.7 or 5.5? It makes no difference in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
Yeah.
And wouldn't that money, a few $100s extra per month, be much more valuable right now, especially for the next 3 years?
I think so.
Right.
Yeah, maybe in 3 years down the line when our daughter is in public school and not daycare, then we can circle back around to that.
That's exactly right. Now, here's my question for you. So
we know that big change is coming, and that's gonna it'll be huge. I feel positive and hopeful.
cool. Natalie,
I feel motivated.
I love hearing both of those. I love that. I suspect the two of you have a few $100 a month easily that can be found, that can be optimized. Whatever savings you institute, like just make sure that you set up the automatic transfer into savings. What you're going to see is after a month, especially after 3 months, that savings account's going to be growing and growing in a way that it has not grown in years. And you're going to see it and you're going to go, oh my God, like we didn't do it. We just set it up once and it's just automatically rolling. And that is very motivating. Now that Maggie is making life plans that might not include him, Justin feels hurt.
I just really didn't feel like there was a we or us. I was like, where do I fit in on this?
I think it's safe to say that we're at a point where it's like, if it doesn't change, it's not going to last.
Now, let's meet Justin and Maggie. I've got Justin and Maggie's CSP in front of me, getting ready for our conversation. Check out what I noticed. All right, let's take a look. Maggie and Justin. Maggie spent her 20s backpacking through different countries. She has big financial dreams. She wants stability. Justin grew up wealthy. He's run his own business, but never really paid attention. Money comes, money goes. They started an LLC together for their YouTube channel on motorcycles. Justin wants to combine finances and their lives. Maggie doesn't want to get caught up in the financial mess. On the flip side, he feels like he supported Maggie financially, and she's not willing to reciprocate that. Trust is an issue. She doesn't trust that he'll get his financial life together. Wow, there's a lot going on here. All right, I'm looking now at their CSP. Looks like they have not combined their finances. That's fine. Her net worth is $45,000. His net worth is negative $63,000. She has $1,000 invested. He has $7,000. She has $16,000 saved. He has $1,000. And wow, she has $15K of debt. He has $92K of debt. All right, let's go to the income. They make a pretty healthy income. $120 for her, $100 to $250K for him. That's a lot of income. $267,000 a year. Let's keep going. I got to say, there's something fishy about these numbers. I wonder if there's some mixing of business in here. I've seen this before where sometimes numbers don't add up and it's usually one or both people are in a business and they're counting some of their business expenses and things like that. So maybe that's what's going on here. Let's keep going. 36% going towards guilt-free spending, which is $7,444. I doubt that that number is true. I think it just kind of flowed down to the bottom. My guess is that they could probably put more towards debt and pay that off aggressively. My overall assessment: 1, they make a lot of money. That part is good. 2, they have separate finances. That's okay. I'd like to understand more. 3, there's a bit of a disparity, not just in their spending, but certainly in their debt levels. And 4, the way they treat money and they treat each other. There are little clues showing up here on the CSP, but it's really probably going to come out when I talk to them. So I'm very interested to speak to them and see what's going on here.
We are going to be moving next year. And the question is, what can we afford? We're freelancers. I don't know anything about your situation. Just kind of wanted to get on the same page.
First of all, do you talk about money?
No, money's been a weird thing for me, but I was like, if I feel like I had somebody that I could tackle life with, like this is her. But we just couldn't get there. It didn't happen. But finally it was like, hey, I'm going to put us on public display. We're going to talk about all the things that most people never talk about.
Have you tried to talk about money in this relationship before?
Kind of.
Yeah.
How did it go?
I set up a spreadsheet that I've been working off of last year. And I was like, what are your fixed costs a month? What are our goals? Hey, put your numbers in here. Look at mine.
Do you realize my question was,
I wasn't every month being like, okay, it was $250 for all the things. We have to split it. I just threw it on the credit card and stacked up a bunch of bills.
oh, why'd you do that?
Honestly, it was just sort of a set it and forget it. I screwed myself, honestly.
What's a time in the last 6 months where the two of you really disagreed about money?
She doesn't like the way I spend my money on sunglasses.
That's it? I don't think you guys flew across the country to talk about $100 sunglasses.
I'm in the dark, I feel like, about his financial situation, but I can do simple math in my head sometimes. And I'm like, this is not adding up that you spent $400 on sunglasses this month. I think there's certain things where I'm just like, I don't spend money like that. And I'm really on top of my expenses.
One thing that's been contentious and difficult, and it's a really complicated situation overall, is that our roommate is Maggie's best friend. And she had a brain tumor a few years ago and had it removed. But it's the type of thing that eventually will come back.
It is coming back.
It is coming back. And so she's going on medication now, but more or less all of the disposable income or whatever Maggie's setting aside is going to taking care of her and her kids.
She has 2 kids that live with us.
It's a tough situation to be in because I kind of feel like that's the priority and I'm not necessarily in that bubble.
Meaning Maggie's friend and her children are the financial priority for Maggie,
Right.
and you feel you're maybe second priority.
Or not a priority at all in that regard.
And now listen to this. Justin tells me about his financial journey growing up, and it's something I have never heard before.
What do you remember your parents or family saying about money when you were young?
We really didn't talk about money, but I grew up with Ferraris in the garage and,
Really?
oh yeah,
Wow.
like a extreme wealth.
Mom or dad was the higher?
Dad,
Dad was a higher, like extreme higher.
extreme.
How much do you think he made?
$1 million a day.
A day?
At one point, yeah.
What do you do?
He managed a hedge fund and he had his own firm.
Okay.
And he also got in a lot of trouble. I kind of grew up as having the dad of Wolf of Wall Street, but not a bad guy. I think that he was working in Wall Street at a time when it was the Wild Wild West. And when they started to put some rules down, they were making examples out of people, and the government was going after his former partner, and they used my dad to take him down, and it didn't quite go to my dad's advantage.
What happened to him?
Incarcerated.
Oh, wow. Tell me.
So he got put in a minimum security prison and decided one day that he didn't want to be there anymore. So my mom packed us up in a minivan and we went to Colorado, and my dad suddenly opens the door and gets in the minivan, and then we
What?
drove out to San Diego and hopped on our sailboat and sailed across the South Pacific for 3 years as fugitives.
And then when you came back, because you're here in the US now, did he get rearrested?
Oh, he got arrested in New Zealand. We got busted there.
Just to share how different my childhood was, we also had a minivan, but when it opened up, my dad would have handed me a spelling bee book and said, why are you not reading this right now?
Yeah, mine was like, here's how we're going to be fugitives.
How much money do you think your family had when you were growing up?
Probably tens of millions.
Does your dad still have a lot of money?
The money that he had from his Wall Street days kind of got squandered.
What's his financial status now?
He's got nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
What messages did you take away from going from extreme wealth to not having a lot of money?
Nothing. Yeah, right. I have a funny relationship with money. I mean, I don't think I value it the same as most people. When I first got started in filmmaking, I was working for this guy, and one day he goes, "You grew up with money, didn't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, how'd you know that? Because I'm not, flaunting anything." And he's like, "I can tell because you're just not hungry like other people are." And I was like, what do you mean by that? And he's like, well, people who grew up with no money will bend over backwards. And, and to me, it just seems like you always have a fallback plan. And I took that to heart and changed my work ethic quite a bit because of that. The cool thing about growing up with money is that you're not afraid to take risks. And that's very true. I feel like a lot of the reason that I've gotten as far as I have in my career and doing the things that I do is because, I'll go all in, and I do believe in those lottery tickets. I do believe that, yes, I've been reading your book. And if you have a steady paycheck and you're just steady at putting away money, and 30 years down the line, you'll have $1 million, right? Like, I know that's true. But I also do know that sometimes if you take a big enough risk, a calculated risk, that the reward can be huge.
Maggie, what do you make of this story? What is your take hearing it?
It's made for some really interesting adult problems with money, for sure. With the money situation, it's like it just comes and it flows through Justin.
Like water.
Yeah, exactly. It's just there's like not a lot of thought given to it because it's like, even when it's not an unlimited resource, it's treated as such.
Do you mean that money comes, money goes? If you're raised with millions and millions of dollars, it starts to become so abstract. You're just like, whatever, if it's not here today, there'll be another way tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think for me, I would say money's freedom. I think when you work hard and you make money, you can free up your time. If you manage your money well, you can live really well.
What does it mean to you, Justin?
I just wish we didn't rely on it. I live a rich life, but I'm not rich for sure. I definitely put experiences and living life before anything else.
Do you agree or disagree, Maggie?
I agree.
Okay. 3, regular monitoring and communication. Monitoring for both of you. Figure out a way to do it. If the spreadsheet's not what you want to use a different doc, use a different doc. But communication means every month we're sitting and talking about money.
So we have as a relationship thing, we do these board meetings.
I love that you have a board meeting. That's awesome. And for me, in a board meeting, in a relationship, money is one key part of it. It's like, what's the state of our relation? Are we good? Where are we going to travel to? You said this thing, it made me a little uncomfortable, but also let's talk about our money.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Been missing, but I think it's something we can add to it.
I want to thank Maggie and Justin for sharing their story. It takes a lot of courage to talk about relationship and money issues in front of so many people. I noticed some themes in our conversations. Both of them have lots of stories about who they are, but those stories aren't necessarily serving them anymore. For example, they both define themselves by their extreme independence, but deep down, they're both yearning to feel more connected to each other. They both have past histories with money, especially Justin with his dad, and those affect them even today. Most of all, they don't have a shared vision for a rich life. In our conversation, there was lots of talking about random expenses, resentment about paid bills, and walking on eggshells about what each of them wants. But I have to say that watching them have these conversations, even with my clunky interjections, was a true joy. Let's check in and watch their follow-up videos. Up first, let's hear from Justin.
My biggest surprise from our conversation, I think, was how divided we really were. We haven't been really working towards anything together. And definitely part of what we uncovered is just the truth and got to talk about things. And it has helped bring up a lot of stuff about our relationship and, the power that we have together as a couple. Together, we make a lot of money and we are much more powerful as a couple. And I think that even if you're not married, still trying to figure out a way to combine some type of finance together makes you much more powerful as a team. My biggest changes so far are just like I've canceled a lot of subscriptions and I've been really focused on whoa, okay, there are things in my finances that I don't even know where this money is going. I had a lot of things on auto pay that were on my credit cards, which have been stacking up. So I took all that stuff off of auto pay and I'm not adding more debt, which I think is really important. And I think overall, Maggie and I have been able to start to have better conversations about making decisions. Like just today, we started talking about a car, and I feel like we're way more on the same page about that. And it's not a separate, this is for me, this is for you situation. It's a, hey, how can we do this together? And I feel like that's a big win.
And now let's hear from Maggie's follow-up.
One of my biggest takeaways is that together, our finances look really good. We can be really successful, but we're not there. There isn't trust there, and that's something that takes time and building up and effort. So we have a lot of work ahead of us to get on the same page, to trust each other, and to start planning things financially together. So in order for us to do that, we really need to put the work in and start combining finances so that we can be as successful as we want to be and operating as a unit versus on these two separate planes with finances. It's only been a couple days since our conversation, so we haven't had time to really map out the game plan, but I have high hopes that we're going to come up with a plan where we can handle our combined